we get into the dog days of summer, you know, and it's, there's a tendency that we start to get a little slower, we get a little lethargic this time of the year. So I am really obsessed with this idea of how we make this last 5 months of the year really strong. So grab a pen and paper and we're going to have a good discussion. So the first thing I want you to write down is, where are you in your business right now? Are you ahead of your goal? Are you at your goal? Or are you behind your goal? And I want you to write down, I'm going to be honest with myself about where I really am. Because now is not the time to think in some imaginary world, we're going to make up a gazillion transactions this last 5 months. We got to get real. Did you guys know, or have you ever considered that the last half of the year has fewer work days than the first half of the year? You guys ever think about that? I mean, think about it. You've got, whether you're in Canada or the US, you've got Thanksgiving. And in the US, if we're being 100% honest, most agents take off that whole week. I don't know about if you guys do that in Canada, but because we're on Thursday, that week of Thanksgiving, a lot of times is just blown. And then you get closer to Christmas, and depending on how the holidays fall, you're going to lose a week to 2 weeks at the end of the year. You lose, because of daylight savings times, we actually lose daylight to do our jobs. So you really have fewer days to work. So it's important that we make the most of it, because we want to finish this year strong. So whether you're behind, you're at goal, let's look at this a couple of different ways. For you guys that are behind, and it's no shame in that, it happens to all of us. If you're behind, the challenge that you're going to have right now is that you may tend to give up. You know, I'm behind, what does it matter? I'm just gonna, I'll just focus on next year. The frustration here is lack of motivation. Maybe you're suffering from a little burnout. Maybe you lost touch with your goals in the first place, or you've got really bad time management. So here's the solution to that. If you're behind, let's just start today like it's January 1. Just focus on, like, you're coming out, it's January 1, it's a new year. In the next 12 months, I'm going to do blank, whatever it is. Let the past go, whatever's happened the first 7 months of the year, let it go. And let's just focus on what we can do over the next 12 months. So if you are behind, don't get hung up on it. Do you guys understand what I'm saying there? Now, let's say you're at goal. Who's at goal right now? That you're right where you need to be. Nobody's brave enough to say, yes, I'm at goal. I'm exactly where I want to be. So the challenge with that guys, is if you make one wrong move, you've lost your whole year. So you've got to stay ultra focused. This is the group, people that are at goal, but the fourth quarter starts to roll around and they completely check out in the fourth quarter, or they're taking an extra vacation here the first week in August. And I'm not saying don't take vacations. We want you to take vacations, but be aware that your days, again, are limited for productive to earn money. Everybody write down, and let me ask you, so in your market, what's the last day you can sell something, put something under contract that you're going to get paid?
December 31st.
So December 1st for Darcy. Okay.
And 31st.
Say it again.
The 31st.
Okay.
And everybody,
you want a burrito?
So in my market, for me to get paid by December 31st, I probably have to sell mine by the last week in November, right? It's got to go under contract that last week of November. I can probably still close it. So then you look at this, and you say, okay, if that's my window, I've got August, September, October, and November. So now I don't have 5 months. I really only have 4 months.
¿Cómo se llama la señora?
You guys get that? So now I have to take whatever I want to do the rest of the year and kind of cram that into 4 months. And you have to be hypersensitive to that. So if you're at goal to stay on track, everybody write this down. This is really important. Let's source your business for this year. Let's do that now. Where has your business come from? And then I want you to look at this 2 different ways. Are you, where are those areas that you're neglecting? Are there areas that you should be getting more business? Are you ignoring the for sale by owner? They're all selling. See, I hear some background noise. If you've got background noise, guys, please mute yourselves so that we can all, and then we'll unmute if you want to talk. But let's source your business and let's see what area that you're neglecting. And then let's look at what area you're doing really well in and see if we can duplicate that. Know where your business is coming from. The next thing I want you to do is let's look at your leads and let's clean up and get rid of the leads that aren't real leads. So what is a real lead and what is a fake lead? Anybody know? Kelly?
Anyone?
Kelly Nickel, take yourself off of mute. What's a real lead versus a fake lead?
One that will buy. A real lead is someone who will buy today.
Mm-hmm. In a short period of time. What's a fake lead?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's the lead that you took that day, you know, that day that you were having a bad day and you needed a lead. So you counted it as a lead so that you wouldn't have a bad mindset. And then you look at that lead a month later and you go, what in the heck is that? So get real, be honest with your leads, and let's work with the very best leads. Next thing I want you to do, and this is hard, this is going to be so hard for you guys. Let's look at your cash flow between now and the next, well, let's do now to January and pay attention to your cash flow and see if there's any gaps. A big mistake that all agents make is we celebrate the pending and then we'll stop working a little bit, take our foot off the accelerator. So just chart it out. I have 2 closings in August. I have 3 closings in September. Oop, I need some stuff for October. Oh, I've got that new build that's going to happen in November. Who's ever been broke in January? Every single agent should raise their hand. But you know why that happens is because we're not paying attention. We're not looking at that cash flow. So real businesses really focus on what that cash flow is going to be. So get yourself a chart and start paying attention to that. Here's the next question. If you're at goal, have you funded your SEP or your IRA, or have you bought any real estate? What are you doing to create some wealth and security in your life? Now's the time to do that. And then the last thing I wrote down is, have you paid your taxes? I'm not going to ask all of you to raise your hand on this, because we all know what real estate agents do is they pay their taxes in October. That's when, at least in the United States, that's what they do. It's a bad habit. So let's not forget, for those of you that didn't pay your taxes earlier this year, that tax bill is going to come due. And then let's compare that, remember, to your cash flow analysis. Don't you think that would be motivating? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but being able to pay my bills, that motivates me a lot, because the purpose here is we want to keep you on track. All right, now who's ahead of goal? So somebody's got to be ahead of goal, right? Good for you, Tiffany. That's awesome. So here's your challenge for those of you that are ahead of goal: is complacency and ego are your enemies. Write that down. Complacency and your own ego are your enemies, because we start feeling pretty good that we're ahead of the goal. And again, you take your foot off of that accelerator, and the next thing you know, you'll have a terrible fourth quarter or a terrible Q1 of 2024. So let's do a little self-analysis for you guys that are ahead. Ask yourself this: are you outpacing the market, or is your production a result of the market? In other words, if your market's super strong and you're doing well, is it because you're doing well, or is it because the market's doing well? Be honest. Let's look at your work ethic. That's in coaching, that's one of my favorite questions to ask my coaching clients is how's your work ethic right now? How would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? Because we got to work hard, because remember, we already figured out we really only have 4 months of production. So your work ethic needs to be at a 10. Again, let's look at your cash flow. For those of you that are ahead, do the same thing I told the people, the agents that are on track. Do that cash flow analysis, and let's see where we're going to be in the fourth quarter all the way into January. And then let's look at your systems right now. What systems need to be, elevated? What systems need to be thrown away? And then the last thing I wrote down is, what areas of your business caused you to be emotional this year or caused you stress? And let's put a plan in place for us to address that and get it fixed this last 5 months of the year. Now, everybody, regardless of where you are with your goal, here's some other things that I really think you should be focused on. Number one is you should get your calendar out, and let's actually count the days that you're going to work. And again, here's where agents get tripped up. Oh, I'm going to work that week of Thanksgiving. No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh, I'm going to work I am going to call those expireds on the 31st of December. That sounds great, and I hope you do. But in reality, what happens? Life gets in the way, right? So be honest with yourself, because where we get tripped up, honestly, with these goals is we're not being honest about the amount of time that we have to produce these numbers. So get the calendar out, mark off every day that you're not going to work, and be honest. Then let's identify the number of closings that you need between now and the end of the year, and then do that exercise that I just shared with you. Back it up to when you have to have all of that pended by, because there's a lag time. It could be 30 days, it could be 45 or 60 days. So let's identify the number of closings, and let's break it down and try to get everything pended in that length of time. And then, of course, we're going to break it down into the number of listings that we need to take each month, and the number of new sales. Break that down into the number of weekly appointments that you need to go on between now and the end of the year. Weekly appointments. For those of you that are counting contacts, I got to tell you, counting contacts, it will get you in that contactitis mentality. You need to prospect, of course, and you may have to make a lot of contacts. But if you'll start focusing on the number of appointments that you're going on every week, that's a game changer. So set a goal for the number of appointments. And then the last thing is, once you identify all these numbers, then you got to do the work. And you have to get committed to it. The next thing I wrote down is front load your week. Who's heard of that terminology, front loading? You guys I think you're gonna like this. So let's say you've worked through your numbers, guys and gals, and you've figured out that you need 8 appointments a month to hit your goal. So that's 2 a week, right? So what you want to do is Monday morning, you're going to come in and you're going to look at your calendar, and you're going to say, all right, how many appointments do I already have booked? Well, I don't have any booked. So your job on Monday and Tuesday is to set those 2 appointments. And so you're going to front load your prospecting, your hottest prospecting and lead follow-up on Monday and Tuesday. So Monday, you come in, you need 2 appointments. You stay on that phone, you make those calls, make those connections, as long as it takes for you to set at least one appointment that day. You come in on Tuesday, you do the same thing. And the goal is going to be for you to set your appointments by Wednesday. Why? Because after Wednesday, the week just starts to slip away, doesn't it? Now, if you're really good on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you're setting appointments for the following week, right? Have you ever looked back at your month and know that you worked hard, but you didn't hit your listing goal or your sales goal? Everybody should be nodding their head. Yes, that happens to me all the time. It's because week by week, you're not connected to those goals. So you can't go 3 weeks without hitting your appointment goal and then take 5 listings the last week of the month. It doesn't work out that way. So pay more attention to what you're doing week by week by week and get committed to a weekly goal. I was coaching a man last year, and now get this, his contacts per listing taken when I first started coaching him were like 400 to 1. And he was a prospector, great agent, by the way. And we put this into place. And I said, I want you, he needed 3 appointments a week. I said, I want you to set those appointments on Monday and Tuesday. And if you have to prospect all day long, then that's what you have to do. So by doing this, we took it down from like 300 contacts per listing down to 100. Why? Because he wasn't just prospecting for the sake of prospecting. He was prospecting to set appointments on Monday and Tuesday. So it's a very good technique. And if you'll break that down week by week by week, you'll get better results. Next thing I wrote down, next point. This is an important one. Everybody write this down. Don't get caught with bad buyers. Don't get caught with bad buyers. Only work with the buyers that are understanding the market and they understand what it's going to take to purchase in this market. I know that we're all over North America and every market is different, but in most areas, the inventory is very low, right? It's the lowest it's ever been, which means there's not a lot of options for these buyers. So if they don't understand that when that listing comes on the market, and it's like in my market, if something at 450,000 comes on the market that's decent, it's still gone in a matter of a day with multiple offers. So if you've got a buyer that doesn't understand that thinks, well, you know, we could be really, I can relax about this. You can't relax. The buyers need to act now. So evaluate your buyers and work with the ones that get it. They need to be financially able to purchase the property. They need to understand what it's going to take to purchase a home. Maybe they have to still offer above full price, and they need to be accessible. So the bad buyers we're going to put to the side. Next point, the market is changing every single day. So you need to know your stats. I know this is going to make me sound like a freak, but every day I look at the hot sheet in my market every single day. And I run numbers literally every day for 5 or 10 minutes. So what am I looking for? I'm trying to determine how it's changing so I can be better informed. One of the things that I look at, which I think is a great indicator of what's happening with the market, is what new listings that have come on the market versus new pendings. I look at that, over the past 30 days, and I'm looking at what the difference is. Are there 300 listings coming on the market and 300 sales? What does that tell me? That the market's very balanced versus there's 500 listings coming on the market and 200 that are going under contract. That tells me that the inventory is rising. So I spend, again, 10 minutes a day just pulling numbers, looking at things, because it makes me a better real estate agent. And if I know those stats, I can inform my buyers and my sellers. It's just more professional. So the shifts are subtle and you need to pay attention to them. Next thing I wrote down is we all need to create massive, let's write that down and circle it, accountability. This last 5 months of the year, lean on your mastermind group or your accountability partners. your role play partners, your spouse, your husband, your wife, whoever. Get someone that's going to hold you accountable. Talk to your coach. Ask your coach to set up more accountability. I have a couple of agents that will text me every single day. They're what they did that day, and because they want that accountability. I have agents that I coach that call each other at 5 a.m. to make sure that they're up, so that they can start their day off the right way. I don't recommend that. The 5 a.m. thing is not for me, but maybe it is for you. But you need that massive accountability, and you need to pay attention to where you are in relationship to your goal. And then I wrote down, you need to participate. Sign up for the Scottsdale Summit that's coming up September 25th and 26th. If your coach hasn't talked to you about it, you can get information on our website. It's at the Scottsdale Princess Beautiful facility, and we're going to have a great time networking and masterminding. So participate in that. It's coming at a perfect time of the year. So that is coming up. Now, if all of that didn't motivate you, I'm going to write down some thought. I want you to write down some thought-provoking questions for you to answer for yourself. Because if you want to achieve whatever that number is this last 5 months of the year, you've got to really want it badly enough. So here's my first question. How concerned are you about the lifestyle that you're providing for yourself and for your family? And this is something that you're going to answer for yourself. How concerned are you? I was a single mom. My kids are grown, but when I was raising them, that was a big part of it. I was very concerned, and it motivated me to sell at high numbers. So where are you in that process? Define what that means to you. The follow-up question to that is, let's say you are concerned. Are you willing to get out of your comfort zone in order to achieve whatever that number is that we need to do this last half of the year? I'm of the belief that everything is a decision. If every day I'm deciding my fate, I'm deciding based on my actions, am I moving closer to my goal or further away from my goal? It's a decision. I decide every day what kind of mood I'm going to be in. I decide every day what time I'm going to start work, when I'm going to prospect. So it's a decision. And I'm willing to get out of my comfort zone because my lifestyle is important to me. So if you're not getting what you say that you want, you need to look at really how badly do you want it and what are you willing to do to get it? Then I want you to write down, do you want the same production this year as you did last year? And then next year, is it going to be the same? Do you want it to be the same? And hopefully not, you want to grow in some way. And if you do, what sacrifices are you willing to make to get that? How badly do you want it? I wrote down, are you willing to do whatever it takes to get what you want? You know, the most defining characteristic, and you've seen these agents that do millions and millions of dollars in commissions, lots of units. And I've coached some of the best agents and teams and brokerages over the past 15 years. And I can tell you the defining characteristic is that, number one, they know what they want. They're very clear on what they want. And number two, they're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. And then number three, they're really good at time management. Those three things, you can make millions of dollars. So if you're not making millions of dollars and you want to, you've got to help. Do I really want it? Am I willing to do whatever it takes? Am I making the decision to have great time management and stay on track? And then I wrote down, do you have the mindset to make this happen in your business? What's mindset? It's that stuff that's those things that are going on in your head between your ears. It's the things that you're thinking about. It's the things that you're entertaining for a second, 30 seconds, a minute, an hour. That's your mindset. Do you guys know that you can control that? It's a decision. If you want to be in a bad mood and have a terrible mindset, guess what? That's a decision. You want to have a great mindset? That's a decision. So do you have the mindset to do whatever it takes? So what are we taking from this call today? If you, after listening to me go on for the past 27 minutes, and I'm going to call on a couple of people. Tiffany, take yourself off mute and tell me what the message is that you heard today. Oh, I can't hear you. I just don't know why I can't hear you. Yeah, can't hear you. Let's see, who else? Maria, take yourself off mute for a second and tell me what you've learned today.
I'm assuming me, Maria. I know there's quite a bit of them, but I'm just going to answer.
Yes, it's you.
For me, it's just being accountability is what I'm taking out of it. Being completely honest with, what I'm doing, being lax just because there's one deal there, and just staying thinking of it as it's not even there, and just keep moving forward.
Good. People that hit their numbers are really obsessed with their goal. And I don't know if you've ever been on a diet, or you've ever, maybe you stop drinking, you stop smoking, or you achieve something that is, it's big like that. It's on their mind all the time. It doesn't happen by accident. You don't lose 50 pounds without thinking about it all the time. You don't give up drinking or, eating too much peanut butter or whatever it is that you're addicted to. That doesn't happen without you really thinking about it all the time. So to Maria's point, you got to get real clear with yourself. What do you want? And then think about it all the time, because everything that you do is either taking you closer to achieving whatever it is that you said you wanted to achieve, or it's taking you farther away. Kelly, what are you taking from the call today? You're on mute.
Mindset, I think, is pretty important. I've made a lot of changes this year. I get up and do exercise first thing in the morning just to give me energy. I went door knocking last night to, it rained a little bit, and I could have stayed home, and it was like, nope, the sun came back out. So I pushed myself. So, mindset is very important. Pretty much everything that you shared today is important, and I really appreciate it. So thank you, Cindy.
You're so welcome. So did you hear what she just said though, guys? So that's a sacrifice. It was raining and I pushed myself through. That's an example of what we're talking about. What are you willing to do to get what you say that you want? Darcy, what about you? What are you taking from the call today? You're on mute.
I said I took away being real with myself about how many days I'm going to work from now until December 31st. So fall is always my best season, and that's my mindset. So every single fall I have it's my greatest time of the year. So yeah, just taking a look at how many days between now and December 31st, because it comes very quickly.
It does.
And we're like 40% on target. We got 60 to go. So it's going to be big. It's going to be a big season. And booking appointments versus just contacts, that's huge. Huge.
Remember, guys, every quarter counts. Your coach, we always say, oh, this is the most important quarter. The reality is every one of them counts, because whatever you do today is impacting the next one. And then next, the third quarter impacts the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter impacts the first quarter. So be aware of what time you have to accomplish all of this. All right. Well, we're 1 minute over. You guys are awesome. I'm so excited. I got to share some thoughts with you today. Again, for those of you that came in late. I am not Gordon Watson. I'm Cydney Fullen, and I'm a coach with Watson Powers. Great group. You guys have a great rest of your week and a great weekend.